Good evening, I'm Fana Sheikh and you're watching AWANI tonight. The Cabinet will present to the Conference of Rulers the government's proposal to strengthen policies with regards to the use of the word Allah. The Prime Minister, Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim, said the Yang Di-Pertuan Agong had consented for the Cabinet to do so. Anwar stressed that his government respects and accepts the state enactments as well as the Agong's decree on February 7th to maintain the existing policies on the use of the word Allah. The move came just 2 days after the government withdrew its appeal against the 2021 High Court decision, which allowed the word Allah, among others, to be used by non-Muslims in publications for educational purposes. Anwar said the Cabinet has discussed the matter today and understood that the decision to withdraw was merely administrative and does not override the Federal Court's position in 2014. This is believed to be in reference to the Federal Court decision in 2014 of another case where it rejected the leave for the Catholic Church to appeal a Court of Appeal decision prohibiting its weekly Herald newsletter from using the word Allah. The court decided then that Malay Muslims had an exclusive right to the use of the word Allah and that non-Muslims cannot use the word Allah to refer to God, even in their own faiths. Amendments to the Federal Constitution for Malaysian mothers to automatically confer citizenship to their children born overseas are expected to be passed within this year. Deputy Law and Institutional Reform Minister Ramkampal Singh expressed his confidence in achieving this goal as the government has given its commitment to ensure equal citizenship rights.
According to him, the necessary process has already begun, potentially making it unnecessary for the Federal Court to decide on the matter. This is because the amendments could render the issue academic. In February, Home Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail and Law and Institutional Reform Minister Datuk Sri Azalina Othman announced that the Cabinet had agreed to the proposal of amending relevant sections of the Federal Constitution. This would grant automatic Malaysian citizenship to children born overseas to Malaysian mothers, eliminating the need for a lengthy application process.
Residents of 99 areas in Klang, Shah Alam and Kuala Selangor are set to face water cuts next week due to emergency pipe repair works. In a statement today, Selangor said that the disruption will last from May 22nd to 23rd, with the water supply expected to be fully restored by May 24th at night. According to the state water supplier, the emergency repair works involve a main distribution pipe with a diameter of 2.2 meter and a large-scale distribution area. As a result, the repair work and recovery period will take longer. However, if the leak becomes critical, the emergency repair work will start earlier than the date mentioned. It added that the duration of the supply interruption and restoration in the affected areas would depend on the location of the consumer's premises and the water pressure in the distribution system. The company also advised affected customers to store adequate water and use water prudently during the disruption period. Consumers can obtain information through Selangor's social media channels or by calling 15300. The 5G network developed by Digital Nasional Berhad (DNB) will continue to be used as one of the 2 5G networks in Malaysia, even after the country moves to dual 5G network operations. Communications and Digital Minister Fahmi Fazil confirmed that DNB's 5G network will continue to operate and will be expanded to achieve 80% coverage of populated areas. According to Fahmi, as of April this year, DNB has successfully deployed the 5G network in 59.5% of the country's populated areas. It has been announced that a second company will be established to start developing the second 5G network in the country. Fahmi explained that the target is for the first 5G network by DNB to reach 80% coverage of populated areas by the end of this year, while the second entity will start from scratch with the aim of reaching 80% coverage within 2 years. Fahmi also assured that the creation of a dual network involving 2 different entities would not have a negative impact on customers, nor would it lead to an increase in costs for telecommunication companies at the wholesale level. Being aware of one's legal rights is critical when it comes to eradicating cases of domestic abuse. Musawah, a global movement for equality and justice in the Muslim family and family laws, urges the government to work together with civil society organizations and NGOs to tackle the lack of legal awareness in the country. We speak to Senior Program Officer Shirin Janisha.
But basically, this is very much talking about legal awareness. What are your rights? So we need to have more of that. And it has to come from the government as well, because NGOs are doing their work, but NGOs, we are working in we have our confines, we have our limitations, you know, and it can't be it cannot be something that is reactive, responsive. We need it to be proactive. So the information, the messaging needs to be out there. Okay, you know, what needs to happen? You know, what is it when it happens? What is it that you need to do? You know, in anticipation. So it cannot be as, you know, or just because something fatal has happened, or a case of this person got beaten up by her partner, and then it takes place by that time. It's actually just too late, and it's just so heartbreaking because of the impact on the whoever's left behind, right? And you're talking about the mental scarring, the trauma. So it just takes on for years. But this is where the legal awareness needs to come to place. But yes, government plays a big role. They need to really invest in making sure that the knowledge is provided from, and if they do not have enough of expertise, of capacity, work together with us.
We will go for a quick break. Stay tuned for more.
Engkau adalah yang terunggul. Apabila kau hidup untuk detik gemilang ni, kau sedia untuk menggalah segala bebanan dan bertekad untuk menjadi harapan untuk semua.
While the world becomes increasingly aware of the need to tackle climate change, are people actively making green investments? Milieu Insights conducted a survey among consumers and investors across Southeast Asia to discover what motivates them to go green and the obstacles they face.
Among the 4,800 respondents from Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand and Vietnam, the survey revealed that the top 3 industries prioritized for green investments were waste management, renewable energy and green transportation.
When we ask people about like what kind of green investments are they making from a consumer level, there's a few options, and we find people are making investments through like SRI stocks. So these are like your socially responsible investment stocks that any retail investor could get access to through like a hedge fund or a bank portfolio. Surprisingly, you even have some people really looking at like crypto as a way to invest in green, make green investments, which to some people may seem contradictory considering how much energy is typically associated, energy usage is associated with crypto and crypto mining. But there are actually some token projects that are not as labor intensive, but also there are things like bonds. So you've got things like fixed income instruments where those the money from those bonds is earmarked to like raising money for climate and environmental projects. So there are a lot of different vehicles.
Stephen said a significant number of investors are motivated by a sense of environmental responsibility when making green investments, and these investors welcome increased government support to further facilitate their contributions to the environment.
There's a little bit of variance across the countries, but the one thing that was number one for all of them, the people who said, yes, I have made or hold green investments, is the environmental, the desire to do something good for the environment. However, the number 2 factor was to get a good return. So these are also people that are investors. They're retail investors that do want to get some kind of return out of this. And so they are kind of balancing the sense of responsibility and the want to do good with actually making some money and making returns. Interestingly, the third aspect was also government incentives. And listen, some people may view, green investments could be buying stocks. Some people may even view like outfitting their house with solar panels as an investment. And there are lots of, in some countries, government subsidies for making green purchases, which I think when it comes to those bigger purchases, people do view those as investments. And that was the number 3 reason, even among Malaysians in Malaysia, was that people, if there's government support or government incentives, they will be more likely to make green investments.
Onto the international front, scientists predict a 66% chance that the world will surpass the 1.5 degrees Celsius global warming limit between now and 2027. They say the chances are rising due to emissions from human activities, as well as the El Niño weather phenomenon expected later this year.
While concerning, scientists say any breach of the limit would likely be temporary. Nevertheless, exceeding the threshold would indicate that the world has become 1.5 degrees Celsius warmer than it was in the second half of the 19th century, before the era of industrialization. Going over 1.5 degrees Celsius mark every year over the next decade or two could lead to longer heat waves, more intense storms, and increased wildfires. The figure has become a symbolic benchmark in global climate change negotiations, as countries have agreed to take measures to limit temperature rises under the 2015 Paris Agreement.
Portugal's President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa has signed a bill to decriminalize euthanasia in the country. The bill was adopted by Parliament last week, making Portugal the 6th country in the European Union to allow this procedure.
The final version of the law will allow terminally ill people to receive help to end their lives. Under its provisions, people over the age of 18 can request medically assisted death if they are suffering from a terminal illness and are experiencing unbearable pain, unless they are deemed mentally unfit to make such a decision. A total of 129 of the 230-seat parliament voted to approve the bill without changes requested by Rebelo de Sousa last Friday, effectively overturning his veto. The majority of lawmakers had already voted in favour of the bill 4 times in the past 3 years, but had faced opposition from the president. Rebelo de Sousa had vetoed earlier bills, citing contradictory language used to describe terminal conditions and the need for further clarification.
The powerful cyclone Mocha that hit Myanmar has killed at least 81 people, with many fearing the death toll will climb far higher as hundreds are still missing. People on the ground started clearing away debris and counting casualties. Cyclone Mocha barreled into Myanmar's coast on Sunday, bringing down houses and trees and severely affecting communication lines. Myanmar's shadow government on Tuesday said that at least 400 people have been killed and an unspecified number of people are still missing. Rakhine State is the hardest hit, with the most vulnerable group being the Rohingya refugees living in camps. Many were also killed by flash floods caused by storm surges, while others were struck by trees felled by strong winds. A United Nations official said 5.4 million people were expected to have been in the storm's path, the majority of whom were considered vulnerable. That wraps up AWANI tonight. I'm Farah. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.